The massive space station called Nexus hung in the darkness like a metal city. Ships from across the galaxy came and went from its docking bays. Today was different, though. Today, the most powerful fleets in known space were gathering for something. Big Admiral Corax of the Zephyrian Empire stood on the bridge of his flagship, the World Breaker. His blue skin gleamed under the bright lights as he watched more ships arrive. Behind him, dozens of his captains waited for orders. The Zephyrian fleet was huge, over 100 ships of different sizes. Each one was armed with the best weapons money could buy. "Admiral, the Vorthak ships are taking position on our left flank," reported his second-in-command. Corax nodded. The Vorthak were strange beings made of living crystal. Their ships looked like giant gems floating in space. They didn't speak much, but everyone knew they were deadly in battle. Their weapons could turn enemy ships into space dust in seconds. On the right side, the Hegemony fleet was forming up. These ships were different from the others. They looked alive because they were grown, not built. The Hegemony had learned to make their ships from living tissue. The hulls pulsed like giant hearts, and strange tentacles moved along their sides. "Status report," Corax demanded. "All fleets are ready, sir. We have 312 ships total. The Vorthak brought 80 vessels. The Hegemony has 132 bioships." Corax smiled. This would be easy. Their target was a small human colony called Haven's Rest. The planet was rich in rare metals that all three powers wanted. Intelligence reports said it was barely defended. The humans had only sent one ship to protect their colony. "One ship," Corax laughed. "These humans must be joking." The communication officer spoke up. "Sir, we're getting a signal from the human vessel." "Put it on screen." The main display showed a human woman in a blue uniform. She had short dark hair and serious eyes. The name on her uniform read Chen. "This is Captain Zara Chen of the United Earth ship Defiant. You are approaching sovereign human territory. Please state your intentions." Corax and his officers burst into laughter. The human captain looked so serious, but her ship was tiny compared to their massive fleet. "Human," Corax said, still chuckling. "I am Admiral Corax of the Zephyrian Empire. You are outgunned 300 to 1. Surrender now, and your death will be quick." Captain Chen's face didn't change. "We will not surrender. Haven's Rest is under our protection." More laughter filled the bridge. One of Corax's captains spoke up. "Admiral, their ship looks ancient. The hull has scars and dents. Their weapons appear to be decades old." Corax studied the human ship on his screen. The officer was right. The Defiant looked like it had seen better days. Its gray hull was marked with what looked like battle damage. The weapon ports seemed small and outdated. How many crew could such a small ship even hold? Maybe 50 at most. "Humans," Corax said, opening the channel again. "Your ship is pathetic. Look around you. We have brought the finest fleets in the galaxy. Your ancient frigate cannot hope to stand against us." Other alien captains joined the conversation. A Vorthak commander's crystal voice rang out like breaking glass. "Human vessel is insignificant. Resistance is pointless." From the Hegemony fleet, a wet, organic voice added, "Our bioweapons will dissolve your hull in minutes. Flee now or be consumed." Captain Chen listened to all of this without showing any emotion. When they finished talking, she spoke calmly. "You have been warned. Chen out." The signal ended. Corax shook his head in amazement. "Do they really think one small ship can stop us?" he asked his officers. "Perhaps humans are even more primitive than we thought," suggested his tactical officer. "Maybe they don't understand numbers." Meanwhile, aboard the Defiant, Captain Chen turned to her crew. The bridge was smaller than those on the alien ships, but every person there was focused and ready. "Chief Martinez, how are our systems?" Chen asked. The chief engineer, a man with graying hair and steady hands, checked his displays. "All systems are green, Captain. The quantum reactor is stable. Weapons platforms are ready. The AI is fully online. Good. Communications, send our status report to Earth Command. The communications officer, a young woman named Torres, worked at her station. Message sent, Captain. Command confirms we are authorized to proceed. Chen nodded. She looked around at her crew of 50. Each person had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might not come home. They were the best humanity had to offer. Engineers, weapons specialists, pilots, and tactical experts. All of them had trained for years for this moment. Remember everyone, Chen said quietly. Let them think what they want to think. Stay in character until I give the word. Outside, the alien fleets continued to grow larger. More ships arrived every hour. The aliens were making sure this would be an overwhelming victory. They wanted to send a message to all the other species in the galaxy. Humans were weak. Humans could be pushed around. The alien commanders held a conference call between their flagships. This is almost too easy, Korak said. Perhaps we should just demand surrender and spare ourselves the ammunition. The Vorthak Admiral's crystal voice was cold. No, example must be made. Other species must see human weakness. The hegemony commander agreed. Yes, we will broadcast this battle across the galaxy. Let everyone see what happens to those who resist us. They made their plans. The attack would begin in 6 hours. They would approach from 3 directions, surrounding the human ship completely. There would be no escape. The battle would be recorded and sent to every inhabited world in known space. As the hours passed, more alien ships continued to arrive. Scouts, battleships, carriers, destroyers. The space around Nexus Station was filled with the largest fleet ever assembled. Captain Chen stood in her ready room, looking out at the enemy fleet through a small window. Her first officer, Commander Park, joined her. They really think we're helpless, Park said. Good, Chen replied. Let them keep thinking that. The longer they underestimate us, the better our chances. The crew is ready, Captain. Engineering reports all systems are prepared. The AI has finished analyzing their fleet formations. Chen turned from the window. How long until they move? 2 hours, maybe less. They're getting eager to start the show. Chen walked back to the bridge. Her crew looked calm, but she could see the tension in their eyes. They were about to face the largest alien fleet in history with just one ship. To anyone watching, it looked like certain death, but appearances could be deceiving. The Defiant drifted through space, looking old and tired. Its hull was indeed scarred, but those scars hid secrets. The weapon ports looked small because the real weapons were hidden. The crew was small because most of the ship's functions were controlled by an advanced artificial intelligence that no alien species knew existed. Chen sat in her captain's chair and waited. Soon, the aliens would make their move. They would come, expecting an easy victory against a helpless human ship. They were about to learn that humans were full of surprises. The alien fleets began to move, and Captain Chen smiled for the first time in days. The alien fleets moved through space like 3 giant arrows pointing at one small target. Admiral Korax watched from his command center as over 300 ships formed perfect attack formations. The sight filled him with pride. This was power. This was what happened when the greatest civilizations in the galaxy worked together. Human ship is beginning to retreat, reported his sensor officer. Korax looked at the main screen. Sure enough, the Defiant was moving away from Haven's Rest, heading toward a nearby asteroid field. The movement looked panicked and desperate. They're running, one of his captains laughed. The cowards are actually running! More laughter filled the command center. Korax opened communication channels to the other fleet commanders. Did you see that? He asked the Vorthak Admiral. The humans are fleeing before we even fire a shot. The crystal being's voice rang with amusement. Human courage was greatly exaggerated. They abandoned their colony without a fight. From the hegemony flagship, wet laughter bubbled through the speakers. Our biosensors detect high stress levels aboard their vessel. They are terrified. Korax felt even more confident. Now, this wasn't going to be a battle. It was going to be target practice. He opened a channel to all ships in his fleet. All vessels, pursue the human ship. Do not let them escape. I want this broadcast across the entire galaxy. Let everyone see what happens to those who oppose us. The alien fleets changed course, following the Defiant toward the asteroid field. Camera drones were launched from several ships to record every moment. This would make excellent propaganda material. Aboard the Defiant, Captain Chen watched the alien response on her screens. Everything was going exactly as planned. "They're taking the bait," reported Commander Park. Chen nodded. "Communications. Start broadcasting our distress signals. Make them sound real." The communications officer began sending out panicked messages. "Mayday, Mayday. This is the UES Defiant. We are being pursued by hostile forces, requesting immediate assistance. Our weapons are no match for their fleet. We are attempting to reach the asteroid field for cover." The alien fleets intercepted these signals immediately. More laughter filled their command centers. "Listen to them begging for help," Korax told his officers. "Where are the other human ships? Why do they only send one vessel to protect an entire world?" His tactical officer studied the sensor readings. "Sir, our intelligence was correct. This appears to be their only ship in this sector. Long-range sensors show no other human vessels approaching." "Excellent. We'll destroy this ship and then take the planet without any resistance." The chase continued for another hour. The Defiant stayed just ahead of the fastest alien ships leading them deeper into the asteroid field. To the aliens, it looked like the humans were desperately searching for a place to hide. "Sir," the Vorthak Admiral contacted Korax, "perhaps we should end this quickly. The human ship will be trapped soon." Korax considered this, but he was enjoying the hunt too much. "Let them run a little longer. I want them to feel helpless before we finish them." Inside the asteroid field, the Defiant moved between the floating rocks with surprising skill. The alien fleets had to spread out to avoid the larger asteroids. But they still had the human ship surrounded. "There!" Korax pointed at his screen. "They've stopped! They have nowhere else to run!" The Defiant had indeed stopped moving. It floated near a particularly large asteroid. Its engines powered down. To the aliens, it looked like the humans had given up. "This is Admiral Korax to the human vessel," he broadcast. "You are completely surrounded. Your ship is outnumbered, 300 to 1. Surrender immediately and your deaths will be quick." Captain Chen's face appeared on the alien screens again. She looked tired and defeated. "Admiral Korax," she said quietly, "my crew and I request terms for surrender." So, aliens cheered. Victory was theirs without firing a single shot. "There are no terms, human," Korax replied coldly. "You will lower your shields and prepare to be boarded. Your ship will be destroyed, and your colony will become our property." Chen seemed to think about this for a long moment. When she spoke, again her voice was different, stronger, more dangerous. "I have a counteroffer, Admiral," she said. "You and your fleets will leave this system immediately. You will return to your homeworlds and never threaten human space again." The alien command centers erupted in laughter. This was the funniest thing they had ever heard. "Human," Korax gasped between laughs. "You are in no position to make demands. Look around you, we have 300 ships. You have one small, outdated vessel." "That's true," Chen admitted. "But you're forgetting something important." "And what is that?" Chen's smile was cold and sharp. "You should have done better research." Korax frowned. Something in the human's voice made him uneasy. "What do you mean?" "I mean, Admiral, that everything you think you know about this ship is wrong. Everything you think you know about human capabilities is wrong. And in about 30 seconds, you're going to learn just how wrong you are." The alien commanders looked at each other through their communication links. Was this human trying to bluff her way out of certain death? "Enough games," the hegemony commander growled. "All ships, prepare to fire. Target the human vessel. Weapons across the alien fleet." Began charging. Energy cannons, plasma missiles, bioacids, and crystal cutters, all aimed at the single Earth ship floating helplessly in the asteroid field. Chen looked directly into the camera. You came here thinking humans were weak. You thought we were primitive. You thought we would be easy prey. Her voice grew harder with each word. You were wrong about everything. Fire, Korax shouted. But before the alien weapons could discharge, something impossible happened aboard the Defiant. Chief Engineer Martinez activated systems that weren't supposed to exist. Quantum reactor online, he reported calmly. AI systems fully active. Weapon platforms deploying. The ship's hull began to change. Panels that looked like battle damage slid away, revealing gleaming weapon ports. What appeared to be cargo areas opened up to show advanced targeting systems. The Defiant's energy signature suddenly exploded across every alien sensor. What is happening? Korax demanded. His sensor officer's voice was filled with fear. Sir, the human ship's power levels are off the charts. These readings shouldn't be possible. Around the asteroid field, the rocks themselves began to change. Hidden panels opened on dozens of asteroids, revealing weapon systems and sensor arrays. The entire asteroid field had been a trap. Captain Chen's voice filled every alien communication channel. Allow me to introduce you to the real UES Defiant and her friends. The alien fleets suddenly realized they weren't surrounding one helpless human ship. They had flown directly into the middle of a carefully prepared killing ground. Warning alarms began sounding on every alien vessel as their computers tried to process what they were seeing. The power readings from the human systems were beyond anything in their databases. Impossible, whispered the Vorthak admiral. Chen's final words echoed across space. You should have left us alone. Admiral Korax stared at his sensor readings in complete disbelief. The numbers made no sense. The small human ship that had been running from them just moments ago was now showing power levels that rivaled his entire flagship. This has to be a mistake, he said to his sensor officer. Run the scans again. I've run them 5 times, sir, the officer replied, his voice shaking. The readings are correct. That human ship is generating more energy than should be physically possible. Around, the alien fleet's panic was beginning to set in. Ship captains who had been laughing and joking just minutes before were now frantically checking their own sensors and weapon systems. The Defiant hung in space, no longer looking like the beaten, scarred vessel they had been chasing. Its hull was transforming before their eyes. Panels were sliding away to reveal gleaming armor underneath. Weapon ports were opening where none had existed before. The ship seemed to be growing larger as hidden sections extended outward. Sir, reported the tactical officer, the asteroids around us are also showing energy signatures. I think they're not asteroids at all. Korax looked at the display showing the asteroid field. His officer was right. What they had thought were floating rocks were actually revealing themselves to be artificial structures. Weapon platforms were emerging from camouflaged surfaces. Sensor arrays were unfolding like metal flowers. It's a trap, he whispered. The entire asteroid field is a trap. On the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Chen watched the alien fleets with cold satisfaction. Every ship was exactly where she had wanted them to be, spread out, confused, and completely vulnerable. Chief Martinez, status report, she ordered. Quantum reactor at full power, Captain, Martinez replied from engineering. All weapon systems are online. The AI has target locks on every enemy vessel. Weapons platforms? All 47 hidden platforms are active and ready to fire. We have complete coverage of the entire asteroid field. Chen turned to her tactical officer. Commander Williams, show me their formations. The main screen displayed a 3-dimensional map of the battlefield. The alien ships were scattered throughout the asteroid field in small groups, unable to support each other effectively. It was perfect. Captain, said Commander Park, we're receiving communications from all 3 alien flagships. They want to talk. Put them through. The screen split to show the faces of all 3 enemy commanders. Admiral Korax looked angry and confused. The Vorthak commander's crystal features showed what might have been fear. The hegemony leader's organic face was pulsing with dark colors. "Human," Korax began. "What is the meaning of this deception?" Chen looked at each of them calmly. "The meaning, Admiral, is that you made a very serious mistake. You attacked human territory without understanding who you were dealing with. Your ship was old and damaged," protested the Vorthak commander. "Our sensors detected no advanced technology." "Your sensors detected exactly what we wanted them to detect," Chen replied. "The Defiant is equipped with advanced holographic camouflage systems. What you saw was an illusion." The hegemony commander's voice was wet and angry. "You cannot defeat 300 ships with one vessel, no matter what tricks you use." Chen smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. "Who said anything about one vessel?" She gestured to Commander Williams, who activated the tactical display. The screen now showed the true situation. The Defiant was not alone. 47 hidden weapon platforms surrounded the alien fleets. Each platform was as heavily armed as a small battleship. "You see, gentlemen," Chen continued, "humans have been preparing for this day for a very long time. We knew that eventually someone would try to take our colonies by force, so we built defenses, very special defenses." Admiral Korax was studying his tactical displays with growing horror. "Those platforms, how long have they been there?" 3 years, Chen answered. "We've been watching you build your fleets. We've been listening to your communications. We knew this attack was coming, long before you left your home systems. The aliens were beginning to understand just how badly they had been outmaneuvered. They had thought they were hunting one helpless human ship. Instead, they had flown directly into the most sophisticated trap in galactic history." "This is impossible," muttered the Vorthak commander. "Human technology is not this advanced." "Human technology is exactly as advanced as we choose to show you," Chen replied. "For decades, we've let other species think we were primitive. We've traded with you, negotiated with you, and let you believe you were superior. It made you careless." She stood up from her captain's chair and walked closer to the screen. "But understand this, we are not the weak species you thought we were. We are not easy prey, and when you threaten our people, you will learn why that was a mistake." Korax was frantically consulting with his officers. "Can we retreat?" he asked. Quietly. His tactical officer shook her head. "Sir, the human platforms have us completely surrounded. If we try to run, they can hit us from all directions. What about fighting our way out?" "Unknown, sir. We don't know what kind of weapons they have." Chen seemed to hear this conversation, even though it was supposed to be private. "You're wondering about our weapons, aren't you, Admiral? Let me show you." She turned to her weapons officer. "Lieutenant Harrison, charge the gravitational pulse cannons." "Gravitational pulse cannons charging, Captain." The aliens had never heard of such weapons. Their faces showed confusion and growing fear. "Computer," Chen said aloud, "select the most isolated enemy vessel, something small that won't be missed immediately." A Zephyrian destroyer on the edge of the formation was highlighted on the display. "Fire," Chen ordered. What happened next defied everything the aliens thought they knew about physics. A wave of distorted space shot out from the Defiant, moving faster than any conventional weapon. When it hit the destroyer, the ship simply collapsed in on itself, crushed by its own gravity. The alien command centers fell completely silent. In less than 2 seconds, a fully armed warship had been reduced to a ball of twisted metal no larger than a shuttle. "That," Chen said quietly, "was our smallest weapon." Admiral Korax found his voice first. What do you want?" "I want you to leave," Chen replied. "All of you, right now. Go back to your home worlds and never threaten human space again." "And if we refuse?" asked the hegemony commander. Chen's smile returned, colder than before. "Then you'll discover what our larger weapons can do. And trust me, you don't want that." The 3 alien commanders looked at each other through their communication links. They had come here expecting an easy victory. Instead, they found themselves trapped and outgunned by an enemy they had completely underestimated. We need time to consider your terms, Korax said finally. You have 30 seconds, Chen replied. After that, we start firing. The countdown began, and everything changed. The 30 seconds felt like hours to the alien commanders. Admiral Korax watched the countdown on his screen, knowing that each number brought them closer to a decision that would change everything. Sir, his tactical officer whispered urgently, we should accept their terms. We've never seen weapons like that gravitational cannon. But Korax's pride would not let him surrender so easily. He had brought the largest fleet in galactic history to this battle. How could he return home defeated by a single human ship without even trying to fight? No, he said firmly. We are the superior force here. They may have some advanced weapons, but we still outnumber them 300 to 1. Prepare all ships. For combat! The Vorthak Admiral's crystal voice cracked through the communication link. Korax, this is unwise. We have seen what their smallest weapon can do. One weapon, Korax replied. They destroyed one ship. We have hundreds more. The hegemony commander's organic face pulsed with angry colors. The humans are bluffing. They cannot have enough power to destroy our entire fleet. On the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Chen watched the countdown reach 0. Time's up, she announced. All ships, this is your final warning. Leave now or face the consequences. Korax's response came immediately. Human ship, you are still outnumbered. We reject your demands. All ships, open fire. The alien fleet erupted in a massive display of firepower. Energy beams, plasma missiles, bioacids, and crystal cutters all launched toward the Defiant and the hidden weapon platforms. The space around the asteroid field lit up like a deadly fireworks display. Chen watched the incoming attacks with calm eyes. Shields up. Point defense systems active. Return fire. What happened next showed the aliens just how wrong they had been about human technology. The Defiant's hull flickered as energy shields absorbed the alien attacks. But these weren't ordinary shields. They seemed to bend and twist the enemy fire, redirecting it harmlessly into space. Some shots simply disappeared, as if they had never existed at all. Impossible, breathed the Vorthak commander. Our crystal cutters can slice through any known armor. Not through quantum phase shielding, Chen replied calmly. Your weapons are firing at a ship that's slightly out of phase with normal space. You might as well be shooting at ghosts. Then the human weapons fired back. The gravitational pulse cannons on the Defiant and the hidden platforms opened up together. Space itself seemed to twist and bend as waves of gravitational force swept through the alien formations. Ships that were hit simply collapsed, crushed by forces that turned their own mass against them. But that was just the beginning. Quantum disruptors, fire, Chen ordered. New weapons emerged from the transformed hull of the Defiant. These fired beams that seemed to make parts of enemy ships simply fade away. Hulls became transparent, then vanished entirely, leaving the interior sections exposed to space. "What are they doing to us?" screamed a Zephyrian captain as half his ship disappeared. "Quantum disruptors phase matter out of normal reality," Chen explained as she watched more alien ships suffer the same fate. "Your hulls still exist, but not in the same dimension as the rest of your ship." The aliens tried to retreat, but the hidden weapon platforms blocked every escape route. The platforms revealed themselves to be armed with different types of weapons than the Defiant. Adaptive plasma streams shot out from their positions, hitting alien ships with energy that seemed to learn and evolve as it traveled. "Our shields are failing," reported a hegemony captain. "The plasma is adapting to our defenses faster than we can adjust them." The plasma streams were indeed learning. Each time they hit a shield, they analyzed its frequency and composition. The next shot would be perfectly tuned to penetrate that specific defense. Within minutes, alien ships that had taken centuries to design were being torn apart by weapons that adapted faster than their crews could think. Admiral Corax watched in horror as his fleet was systematically destroyed. "All ships concentrate. Fire on the human vessel. If we can destroy their command ship, the platforms might shut down." Every remaining alien weapon turned toward the Defiant. The combined firepower of over 200 ships focused on Chen's vessel. Chen simply smiled. "Computer, activate temporal displacement field." The Defiant shimmered and seemed to split into multiple images of itself. The alien weapons fired at what they thought was the ship, but their shots passed through empty space. The real Defiant was displaced in time by fractions of a second, making it impossible to hit. "Now let me show you what our main weapon can do," Chen said. "Computer, charge the reality distortion cannon." The Defiant's hull opened up to reveal a weapon unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. It looked like a swirling vortex of space and time itself, contained within a crystalline housing. "What is that thing?" whispered the Vorthak Admiral. "That," Chen replied, "is what happens when humans get really angry." The reality distortion cannon fired. The beam that emerged didn't travel through space, it rewrote space. Where it passed, the fundamental laws of physics changed. Alien ships caught in its path found their molecules suddenly unable to hold together. Their energy systems began working backward, draining power instead of generating it. Their gravity generators reversed, pulling the ships apart from the inside. A full squadron of hegemony bioships was caught in the beam's path. The living tissue of their hulls began aging rapidly, decades of time passing in seconds. The ships withered and died like flowers in a desert. "Please," Admiral Corax's voice cracked over the communication system. "We surrender! We surrender!" But Chen wasn't finished. The hidden platforms around the asteroid field revealed their own special weapons. Some fired streams of liquid metal that hardened on contact, trapping enemy ships in solid cocoons. Others launched clouds of microscopic robots that ate through alien hulls like metal-hungry insects. The Vorthak ships, made of living crystal, faced a particularly cruel fate. Human sonic weapons found the exact frequency that made their crystal bodies ring like bells. The beautiful crystalline vessels shattered into millions of glittering pieces. In less than 10 minutes, over half the alien fleet was destroyed or disabled. The survivors huddled in small groups, their weapons silent, their crews terrified. Chen finally gave the order to cease fire. The sudden silence was deafening. "Now," she said, her voice carrying clearly to every surviving alien ship. "Are you ready to listen?" Admiral Corax's response was barely a whisper. "Yes, we'll listen." "Good, because I'm only going to say this once." Chen stood up and walked to the center of her bridge, where the camera could capture her fully. "You came here thinking humans were weak. You thought we were primitive and helpless. You brought your greatest fleets to crush one small colony." Her voice grew stronger with each word. "But you forgot something very important about humans." She paused, letting the silence stretch. "We don't stay weak. We learn, we adapt, we prepare. And when someone threatens our people, we become something you never want to face." The alien survivors waited in terrified silence for her next words. "This is your lesson. Take it back to your home worlds. Tell them what happened here. Tell them that humans are not to be underestimated ever again." Chen looked directly into the camera, and her final words echoed across the galaxy. "The age of pushing humans around is over." The battle was over, but its effects were just beginning. Of the 312 ships that had come to crush human resistance, only 18 survived. These battered vessels limped through space, their hulls scarred and their crews broken. Admiral Corax's mighty flagship was one of them, though barely. Half of its weapons were gone, and its engines could barely maintain orbit. Captain Chen watched the alien survivors on her main screen. She could have destroyed them all easily, but she chose not to. These ships would serve a more important purpose, alive than dead. "Communications, open a channel to all surviving vessels," she ordered. The faces of the alien commanders appeared on her screen. They looked very different now than they had a few hours ago. The arrogance was gone, replaced by fear and respect. "You're letting us go?" asked Admiral Corax, hardly believing it. "Yes," Chen replied, "but not out of mercy. You're going to carry a message back to your people. You're going to tell them exactly what happened here." The Vorthak commander's crystal voice was subdued. "What message do you want us to deliver?" Chen looked at each of them carefully. "Tell them that humanity is not what they thought. Tell them that we've been watching, learning, and preparing. Tell them that anyone who threatens human worlds will face the same fate you did today." She gestured to the wreckage floating around them. Pieces of destroyed alien ships drifted past the view screen like metal snow. "Make sure they understand this was not luck. This was not some ancient human weapon we found. This was human engineering, human planning, and human determination. We built these weapons. We designed this trap. We chose this moment." The hegemony commander's organic face pulsed with dark colors. "How long have you been preparing for this?" "Decades," Chen answered honestly. "From the moment humans first encountered alien civilizations, we knew this day would come. We knew that eventually someone would see us as easy prey. So we prepared." She walked closer to the screen, her expression serious. "But understand this. What you saw today was just one ship and one defensive platform. Do you really think we would put all our secrets in one location?" The alien commanders exchanged worried glances. They hadn't considered that the humans might have more surprises waiting. "Every human colony now has defenses like this," Chen continued. "Every human ship in our fleet carries weapons you've never seen. We've been preparing for war while you thought we were just peaceful traders." Admiral Corax found his voice. "Why didn't you reveal this technology before? Why let us think you were weak?" Chen smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Because weak enemies make mistakes. They get overconfident. They bring all their ships to one place and make themselves vulnerable." The truth hit the alien commanders. Like a physical blow, they had been manipulated from the very beginning. The humans had wanted them to attack. You wanted this battle," whispered the Vorthak admiral. "We wanted to send a message that would reach every corner of the galaxy," Chen confirmed. "We could have revealed our capabilities gradually, but that would have taken years. This way, everyone will know immediately that the rules have changed." She was right. Even as they spoke, recordings of the battle were being transmitted across space. The camera drones that the aliens had launched to record their victory were now broadcasting their defeat to every inhabited world. On distant planets, alien leaders watched in shock as their most powerful fleets were destroyed by a single human ship. The videos showed the impossible weapons, the hidden platforms, and the complete reversal of the expected outcome. "Go home," Chen told the survivors. "Tell your governments what you've seen. Tell them that human space is now protected by weapons they cannot match. Tell them that we are no longer the weak species they can push around." The alien ships began to move away from the asteroid field, their crews eager to escape before the humans changed their minds. But Chen wasn't finished. With her message, "One more thing," she called out, stopping them. "From now on, all contact with human space will be conducted through proper diplomatic channels. No more military threats, no more surprise attacks, no more thinking you can take what you want from us." Admiral Corax's voice was barely audible. "And if someone doesn't listen to this message?" Chen's expression became ice cold. "Then they'll discover that what happened here today was us being gentle." The alien ships jumped to faster-than-light travel as quickly as their damaged engines would allow. Soon, the Defiant was alone among the hidden weapon platforms and the wreckage of its enemies. Commander Park joined Chen at the view screen. "Think. They'll spread the word?" "Oh, they'll spread it," Chen replied. "Fear travels faster than any ship in the galaxy." She was right. Within days, the story of the Battle of Haven's Rest had reached every major alien civilization. The recordings showed the impossible weapons, the complete tactical dominance, and the mercy shown to the survivors. On the Zephyrian homeworld, military leaders held emergency meetings. How many human colonies have defenses like this? They asked each other. No one knew the answer, and that terrified them. The Vorthak Collective's crystal councils resonated with worry. Their perfect formations and cutting weapons had been useless against human technology they didn't understand. The hegemony's bioengineers worked frantically to develop counters to the human weapons, but how could they fight technology that seemed to rewrite the laws of physics? But the biggest change was in how other species now viewed humanity. Overnight, humans went from being seen as a minor, primitive race to one of the most feared powers in the galaxy. Trade relationships that had been conducted with condescension suddenly became respectful negotiations. Alien diplomats who had once spoken down to human representatives now chose their words very carefully. Some species began approaching human space with offers of alliance. If humanity had weapons like this, they wanted to be on the friendly side. Others pulled back entirely, deciding that any interaction with humans was too dangerous. Meanwhile, on Haven's Rest, the colonists who had been preparing for evacuation celebrated their salvation. They watched the recordings of the battle with pride and amazement. Their small colony had become the most protected place in the galaxy. Captain Chen received new orders from Earth Command. The Defiant would patrol the borders of human space, visible and obvious. Let everyone see the ship that had defeated 3 fleets. Let them remember what happened to those who threatened humanity. As Chen read her orders, she smiled. The mission had been a complete success. Humanity was no longer the weak species that could be pushed around by stronger neighbors. The Rao message had been sent, and the galaxy had received it loud and clear. 3 months later, an alien intelligence briefing was held on the neutral station of Kepler-7. Representatives from dozens of species gathered to discuss the new reality. Our analysis is complete, announced the briefing officer, a spider-like being from the Arachnid Confederation. The human victory at Haven's Rest has changed everything. The assembled delegates listened in tense silence. We now know that humanity has been hiding their true capabilities for decades. The question is no longer whether they are advanced. It's how advanced they really are. A representative from the Aquatic Alliance raised a fin. How many more ships like the Defiant do they have? Unknown, the briefing officer replied. But given their planning and preparation, we must assume they have many. The room filled with worried murmurs. Recommendation? Asked the Zephyrian delegate. The briefing officer's multiple eyes focused on the group. Do not threaten human space. Do not attack human colonies. Do not assume they are weak just because they appear peaceful. The delegate from the Silicon Brotherhood asked the question everyone was thinking. What if we combined our fleets again? Surely no single species could stand against all of us united. The briefing officer projected an image of the Defiant on the main screen. That single ship destroyed over half of the largest fleet ever assembled. Are you willing to bet the survival of your species on the assumption that they don't have anything worse? The room fell silent. The age of underestimating humanity was over, and everyone knew it. Far away, Captain Chen stood on the bridge of the Defiant looking out at the stars. Her ship no longer hid its true nature. It moved through space, openly, a reminder to all who saw it that humans were no longer prey. They had become the hunters, and the galaxy would never forget it.